right, now's a good time to introduce the concept of scope of variable. All right, the reason I'm doing this now instead of later is this is so much easier when the programs are so simple. I mean, we have really simple programs right now, and it's easier to see. I've got a basic program here. The whole program is right here on the screen, right in front of you. All right, I've got two things going on. I've got a main block, which there's the int main is from here to here, right? I also have a block on the inside. If this condition is met, this block happens. If this condition isn't met, this is just skipped over and you go down to the cout statement. Okay, so let's walk through this kind of slow. I declare an int num. I prompt the user to enter a number greater than 0. Then I cin that num. All right, now I get to the end statement. If num is greater than 0. Basically, if the user did what they were told and entered a number greater than 0, then we go inside of this block. This is where it's real. This is where the crux of this whole video. Once I get inside this block, I declare an integer num. Right? This is a horrible practice. Right? I declared an integer num out here, and I'm declaring another integer num in here. I can do that because I'm inside this block. This is like its own little world. All right? This works. This will work fine. It's not a good practice. Inside a program, be very distinctive when you name and declare variables. But this is good for this illustration here. So inside here, I declare an integer num, right? Then I ask the user, I prompt the user for a second number and cin, have them see, then I cin num. So at this point, I have two nums in this program, right? Right now, then I'm going to cout this num. So this line here, the cout, the second number was, it's referring to this num, all right? This is its own little world, and what's going on inside of here stays inside of this world, right? Out in the outer world, there is a variable named num that has a totally different value. But I'm going to cout the num that I declared and entered inside of here, right? Once I do that, this goes away. This whole if statement goes away. My program increments down to this cout, and your first number was I cout num, and it applies to this num up here, right? This one no longer exists. The program, it got to this num, we declared it, it did something, it left. Now we've moved on to this statement. Your first number was num, it's going to cout the one you entered at the beginning of the program. I'm going to run this. All right. Enter your number. This was the initial prompt. I'm going to enter a 7. All right. 7 is greater than 0. So now we're going to enter that if statement, that inner block. On the inner block, it asked me to enter a second number. And if you remember, it's named num. So I'm going to give this a 4. I hit enter, and then inside that inner block, the second number was 4. It leaves the inner block, and then on the outside, your first number was 7. All right, give this a good hard look. I guess the concept is that even though this num and this num here look the same, the scopes are totally different. This is a totally different variable, because everything in here, the control is inside of these brackets. right? Give this program a good hard look. This is a hard concept to explain. Matter of fact, this is not my first take. Actually, it's embarrassing how many times I've been over this. I've actually changed this. This was number, and I kept saying the word number over and over again, and it was just horrible. So the key concept is that this num is different than this num. It is a bad practice to name variables inside a program the same thing, but it lets you see the control of a program and how it progresses through. All right. Like I said earlier, what stays inside this block, what happens inside this block stays inside this block. It happens, it loses control, the program increments, and then releases back to the outer block, which is the main. All right. If you got any questions on this, please ask me. Maybe watch this video again. It's kind of a hard concept, but it's important, especially 2 chapters down the road.